The Blind Tony Story, Book 6, Chapter 3. When life doesn't seem so good, you have to learn to dig down real deep and find that extra strength from somewhere. The Apostle Paul said that perseverance under adverse circumstances will eventually produce endurance, and that endurance over a long period of time will eventually produce patience. Either way, you should count it all joy, because only in our weakness can God truly become our strength. Merrill Lynch found out about Azra's birth, and they threw me a big party, a baby shower, and I received so many gifts that I was given a limousine to take them all home. Life was good. But shortly after this, Merrill Lynch also found out about my past criminal record. I was called into the supervisor's office, and I immediately saw the sets of cards on his desk containing fingerprints and mugshots. And I knew right then and there that they had uncovered my past. His first words to me were, "You had some problems you didn't tell us about." And my response was, "If I had told you that I had been arrested that many times, would you have still have hired me?" And he said, "No." And then I said, "That's why I didn't tell you." But his next response really shocked me. He said, "We're not interested in the past. We're only interested in the present and the future. Since you have been here, you have been a perfect employee. In fact, you have set the standard that we hold up for others to emulate." He said he wanted me to write a brief paragraph about each of the past arrests, explaining the details and circumstances, and also to explain how I felt about those arrests now. And so I did. He in turn had a meeting with the dividend department head, the head of the security department, and me. My immediate supervisor was given the final say-so on my future at Merrill Lynch. And he decided that since it was all in the past, that it should stay in the past. Life was good once again. And it's interesting to note that in all my past arrests, except the one for cocaine possession, I stated that if I had the chance to do it all over again, I would do it exactly the same way. It was around this time that Ravenisha and I broke up. She resented the fact that I was still going to the tennis courts on the weekends, while she was forced to stay at home and take care of the new baby and the kids. One Saturday morning when I was playing tennis down on Riverside Drive, I'll never forget it. Ravenisha came to the tennis courts, pushed the baby carriage to my side of the court that I was playing on, and said she didn't know who was going to take care of my baby. My baby? I couldn't believe it. All those times we had been together, I had never, not even once, referred to Alfred or Sarah as her children. They were always our children. But now when she was pissed off, Azra was suddenly my baby. Anyway, I packed up my tennis rackets, took Azra home, and began my new life as a single parent. Azra was 3 months old at the time. Ravenisha moved back to her mother's house with Alfred and Sarah. And, the Bible says the women are the weaker vessel. And I think that what Paul was saying was that women were not just weaker physically, but also, more importantly, they were weaker in an emotional sense. Women are subject to an estrogen cycle that controls their moods and mindset. This is what causes PMS, postpartum depression, and a host of other up and down mood fluctuations that make them unstable, unpredictable, and highly erratic. Thus the weaker vessel. It's also true that some men need to be dominated and are inherently weak. Other men make themselves weak by being overly testosteronic and macho. therefore having this sick need to prove themselves to themselves, which is just another form of insecurity and weakness. However, all things being equal, what the Bible says is true. Once again, and Ravnisha's actions only served to solidify that which I already knew. Azra and I became inseparable. I no longer used the baby carriage. I only used the harness with Azra, always having her close to my heart. Wherever I went, she went. I talked to her continuously, and I told her all about life. just just as if I would as if she was an adult. And a funny thing happened. She started understanding. It was amazing. Long before she could walk or even talk, she understood. I could say to Azra, there's a fly in the room. Where is it? And all I had to do was follow her eyes and her head, and she would find it. I could do the same thing with my keys, my wallet, my cigarettes, and everything else. She would find them all. And yes, I did just say cigarettes because I started smoking cigarettes again. I also tried getting high again, but it just wouldn't work anymore. Azure had stolen my heart completely, and anything and everything that didn't include her was something that I just didn't want or need. Ravanisha's mother called the cops and tried to get the Department of Social Services to take Azra away from me. But Ravanisha sided with me and told them all that Tony is more capable of raising that baby than I am. I felt very proud when she said that. I was also having problems on the job. I was late a lot and I began to look haggard. Some nights I would be up all night long with Azra. She would have a fever or diarrhea, and I would be on pins and needles waiting for it to break. And then with no sleep, I would bathe and dress her, comb her hair, bathe and dress myself, catch a cab, take Azra to the babysitter's house. And just as we would get there, she would throw up all over me or move her bowels all over my suit. So yeah, I was having a lot of problems. And it was definitely affecting my work. I was called into the supervisor's office, and he told me my performance had fallen off and that I was borderline unacceptable. He asked me if I was back on drugs again, and I told him no, but that I was a single parent trying to raise a baby girl all by myself, and that it wasn't easy. And then I told him some of the details about what I was going through, and then I just broke down and started crying. I cried and I told him that if he was trying to make me decide or choose between this job and my baby girl, then it was going to definitely be my baby girl. And then a funny thing happened. He gave me a box of tissues, closed his office door, and then apologized. He said he had no idea what I was going through and that he respected my efforts a lot. He also said that he didn't think that he would be able to do what I was doing himself, even if he had to. And then he told me that if there was anything I needed or that the department could do to help me out, to just let him know. And then he gave me a raise. Life was very, very good. Time went by, and Azra was almost 3 years old now. And one day her mother, Ravanisha, passed us by while riding on the bus. Azra and I were just walking down the street. I was explaining to her about Christmas and the Christmas lights. And Ravanisha got off the bus and joined us. Azra told Ravanisha to see the lights. And she was amazed at her command of the English language and her depth of comprehension and her grooming and attire. She invited us to her house for dinner the following Friday in order for her mother and the kids to spend some time with her and to give her some of the gifts they had been saving up for her. Azra and I went, and it was beautiful. Ravanisha's mom was amazed, and she said she had never seen a 3-year-old that was that smart and articulate. She admitted that she had been wrong, and she told me that I had done a great job raising her. And that was one of the greatest moments in my entire life. I was on top of the world. Things couldn't have been no better. Ravenisha and I made love that night, and I spent the night there with her. Eventually, I gave up my place and moved back in with her again and the kids. Life was very good once again. Counted all joy.